Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
July 2, 2021, the Keep Your Clothes On edition. And we begin with that story from the Financial Times. The article says that we should not be so laissez-faire about extramarital affairs because this could be a significant part of a professional proficiency. The reason: the author believes that if you are willing to lie to your spouse about an affair, then you may be willing to lie on the job or engage in other unethical behaviors. So that's a very interesting proposition, and I think that's something that many companies really don't take a look at, which is affairs not connected to the office place. I'm not quite sure how you would ask about that or investigate that, but a very interesting proposition from the Financial Times around the recent imbroglio in the UK. Next up from the Wall Street Journal, the new head of IASB, the head of global accounting rulemaking, expects to zero in on technical details. The board got a new leader after a decade, and Andrew Barkow has been with the organization for a few months, and he formally took over the role of chairman this month. He's expected to take a deep dive into the weeds on international accounting rules. This will mark a contrast from the former chair, who isn't a qualified accountant and took a much more big picture look. So be prepared for international accounting standards to change. Next up from Reuters, Switzerland is investigating Gunvor Group links to the Ecuadorian oil trading scandal, which had resulted in a corruption case against an ex-Gunvor employee. And now U.S. prosecutors are investigating who have done this, and now Switzerland is looking at the money laundering or potential money laundering links to Switzerland. Raymond Kohut, a 68-year-old Canadian who faces up to 20 years in prison, is alleged to have been a part of a conspiracy with fellow Gunvor employees to make bribe payments to Ecuadorian government officials. The company was found liable in Switzerland for corruption in deals in Congo and the Ivory Coast back in 2019. And then finally, probably the biggest story of the day everywhere is that the Trump organization and the former CFO of the Trump, or current CFO of the Trump organization, indeed for many years, Alan Weisberg, has been indicted over basically corruption charges, but it's around tax scandals. This is certainly a blow to the Trump organization. Most businesses have loan clauses around being indicted and loans being called and other consequences of this type of conduct. Both the Trump organization and Weisberg were indicted, as I noted. Former President Trump was not indicted at this point. So whether Weisberg takes a guilty plea, whether he tries to fight this at trial, or whether he flips on Trump, it's all going to be interesting to see. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.